Prem Sampati Ramachandra Ki Jai. Sitaram everybody and cordial welcome to our third and final session of our 3 nights virtual Ramayan. Today we're coming again from the Krsna Seva Ashram here in Princestown, Trinidad. My name is Keshava Gosine and I have been reading these 3 nights for you from Valmiki Ramayan. We have done in the first night the Ramayan Khan, where we listened to the fight between Ravan and Jatayu. This Jatayu tries to save Sita Mata in the act, and we heard the dialogue of the act of the kidnapping. Then last night we jumped to that point in Kishkinda Khand where Sugriva had given the order, go and search in the different corners and see where Sita Mata is. As Sri Ram is perturbed and he's lost and he wants to find her, but we don't know where she went. And Angad and Hanuman and all the monkeys are very distraught as the timeline that was given per Valmiki Ramayan is 1 month. And that time is elapsed. And now they're sitting on the Vindhyan mountain with the range and they accepted this starvation diet to give up life. But rather than go to Kishkinda and face the king or Sri Ram, they're afraid they get admonished. And at that time, Sampati comes as a vulture. He can't fly. And we meet this specially differently abled individual that becomes known to them. And he describes how he's the older brother of Jatayu. And a wonderful conversation ensues about how he feels about Sri Ram. We ended last night where he's offering tarpan. The monkeys take him to the river and he offers tarpan. And he tells them that he wants to do Seva for Sri Ram, if just by his lips, just by his words. In the beginning of last night's discourse, Angad is talking to Hanuman about the Jatayu and what had happened to Jatayu and how Jatayu is so great and he's so lucky because he got to do Seva for Sri Ram by trying to save Sita Mata, by trying to intercede on her behalf. That is it possible for people to do good on behalf of other people? Is it even capable of doing such a thing? And then, Sampati came in. And tonight, as we continue, as we go on in our discourse, we are entering where we left off last night in Kishkinda Khand. Our discourse, let me get my marker here. Our discourse will take us from chapter 59 on the way to the end of Kishkinda Khand at chapter 67. In tonight's discourse, Sampati, he's the star and he continues. And without further ado, let's begin this evening. Much to talk about. Last night we did, in addition to the discourse, we did the Ramayan Visarjan. For those that are knowledgeable of our Ramayan, that was something that used to be chanted at the end when we are closing our Ramayan or closing our prayer. Remember, in prayer, Sattvic prayer, there's a procedure. There's a modus operandi. There's a way to invoke it, and there's a way to worship the God. And in doing it right, the person who does the yagya, as we are told in Gita chapter 3, Yagna will then bring about the happiness and fulfillment of our desires if it is only done in a sattvic way, following the religious and the scriptural injunction. So the person who does the invocation and does the closing properly before we endeavor into our family life, diet, different things, it would be more of a betterment for each and every one. In the first night, we spoke about how historically our people felt an affinity to Sri Ram and his hardships, his separation from his family, as our people had to come to the West Indies and the New Hemisphere and given up the homeland, the motherland, Bharat. And that difference, that migration and the hardships they endured and so on, we understood, we held on that this, of all the devatas, this form of God, God is one, but his forms are many, his leelas are many, and this form really speaks to me. So our people held on to the Ramcharitra Tulsidas Ramayan. And, I remember growing up, as I said the first night, and you, in your comments, please share your comments. If you're looking on at me on Facebook, on WhatsApp, or wherever you may be, or if you are viewing on Sankhya television, send your messages. Tell me, do you remember these things, or am I talking madness? I remember growing up, and I remember a pundit had to be on his toes when it came to satsang. He had to know Ramayan, and you had to know your text, and I was brought up in that. So till today, I can tell you, if I read in chapter this, verse that, calm this, this text, that was my example, because he didn't want to get embarrassed. These old men and them knew their text. But in Kalki Puran, in Bhagavad, when we hear about the coming of Kali Yuga, and it describes how in this age, besides people will get sickly and lifespan will get shorter, it talks about the forgetting, that people will say, and I'm paraphrasing, that people say, and we used to do something, simple language for children, adults, please bear with me. I'm saying it in a way to connect with younger ones. And we used to do something, and it had something, and we used to sing something, and it had a way, and we used to have Yagna, and Ramayan Yagna used to be 9 nights, the correct Ramayan Yagna, and then, shortcut and different kind of cut. It comes 7 nights and 5 nights and then 3 nights and then no nights, and the Yagna is starting to disappear. Hence, we endeavored to do things like this to reach you where you are, so that the words of the text, and you bear with me, I'm reading the book, so that the words of Prabhu, last time we talked about what Maryada Purushottam, that name that we label Sri Ram, what it means at length. I took my time and I explained it. So for you who got to watch it, and if not, you could go on the YouTube, you could go back on Sankhya and you'll see it on the repeat. The idea is for you to learn about your Lord and for us to fight the tide. I agree. There's in the ashram, there's this uncle, Uncle Ramda, and he says, "Oh Pandit, you are fighting the tide in the sea. You are pushing good and you're trying to do good, but everybody wants to jump up for carnival. Everybody wants to free up. Everybody wants to drink up. Nobody wants to go by the cremation ground to say prayers. They want to go by the cremation to open the trunk and drink liquor and live. And whilst there's a time and place for everything, if you eat or drink to suit you, that's you. There's no secret in it. God knows what you and I drink and eat, but there must come a balance, and that is what I'm advocating for. That if you prescribe to Sanatana Dharma, then if we do not hold some standard in religion, and as simple as, I remember when I was younger, and you're learning the art of prayers, and you go forget and home, and you go forget the song, and you might forget it happens, you forget your book home, and poor thing, I remember, Auntie, I could borrow your chandan, Auntie, could I borrow your guitar or your Ramayan? Good luck. So, as time is passing, people are forgetting Ramayan. If you ask a typical youth in today's world, and this started with that. I was speaking to the I wouldn't say babies or the children, but middle teenagers, young adults. And I was asking, could you sing a chaupai for me? Could you tell me something in Ramayan? Because sometimes I let them do the discourse on the Sunday morning. I'll get the chapter or something, like when we did the Ekadasi, what this Ekadasi mean, what that Ekadasi mean, and little things that they could manage. But read it and get involved, and you be the Baba today, and you be, and teach them how to do Hawan and read the book, because knowledge is power. And they didn't know. So with that in mind, I'm endeavoring with, the January Global Diwali on the 22nd of January, and you're watching me, and I'm explaining why we're doing this. To celebrate Sri Ram is returning symbolically as they're inaugurating the Ram Janam Bhumi Mandir in Ayodhya. I'm using the time to speak about Sri Ram, to give details, because this same discourse with Jatayu and Sampati has a lot of defined definitions in Valmiki's Ramayan that is not contained in Tulsidas Ramayan. It is not present in Anand Ramayan. So it is a nice study of cross, and this is where we are up in our game, where we start to not only know Tulsidas Ramayan, but we are going to expose our young and young at heart to different Ramayan as we learn, and we want to grow and gauge our Sri Ram. He is so great, and I have to learn. I have to know. I want to know more. And with that in mind, here comes, these discourses, and I want you to appreciate your Lord. The focus here is His words, His glory, His story. And tonight, as we do our final night of these 3 nights, you'll see me next week. We'll be going on to another set of discourses. Next week, I want to read Anand Ramayan for you, and a little piece of Valmiki's Ramayan, to explain another star boy in Ramayan Katha. In this one, we did Jatayu and Sampati. And as I did hint last night, if you love your Hanuman, you would want to hear this discourse, because there are little gaps in our minds about certain things. And today being Saturday, and we are getting ready to celebrate the Lord. Rather than just sing the Hanuman Chalisa, I want to give you a little backstory for what you already know, or what you may hear for the first time if you are a younger person. Tonight, if I told you God is great, I told somebody that today, sickly person, ardent believer in Hanuman Baba, and tested, health, surgery, begged God for help, begged in all forms you could imagine, suffered a lot. And then one day God sent a miracle. Has that ever happened to you? At the very onset of tonight, have you ever reached a dark moment in your life? Suicide even, maybe fear. Some people drink their sorrows. Some people find company in, relaxing company in bad company. They put so. They just pundit, as people tell me, pundit. I know it wrong. I know it wrong. I know. I'm not saying I'm right, but I have it so hard. And it's just for 5 minutes of happiness. I just want to be free from the worries or the pain, the fear. When you look at the crime in Trinidad right now, you're not affected. God bless you. When your neighbor had trouble like that, you think you'll sleep good? Many people aren't. Tonight, they will enter into a discourse and we hear about this more. And I want you to answer this for me. My nephew running the camera. And I ask him, because he's a young fella, and whenever I am doing discourse, I just tend to question them, to hear what they think or what they know. Now they did with Mahasabha School, thank God for the work that Balvi class and all these other, school activities gave children the Ramayan quiz and that backing. And he said, Mamu, I've heard the discourse, I did the quiz and I know it. But some of the details, I didn't know it. So by constantly repeating, and you get that into the young Hindu, our Dharma, our Ramayan will be preserved. That's my intention. Tonight, let's begin. Time is running away, everybody. Again, if you are joining us, if you just came in, Pranam. My name is Pandit Keshava Gosine, and I welcome you again to the Sri Krishna Seva Ashram, as we are doing our third night tonight of virtual Ramayan, Valmiki's Ramayan. We have been listening to first Aranya Khan the first night, and last night and tonight we'll do Kishkinda Khand, the very end of Kishkinda Khand. Put your hands together, everybody, where you are, as we enter into the story, the glory of Sri Ram. Close your eyes and bow your heads as we do so. Hari Om. Do you remember this twang? I had it in my head today and I wanted to do it. Hari Om. Hari Om. He Ram. He Ram. He Ram. Hame daya karo. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sevitam Kapet Jambu Palachara Vakshitam उमासुतं शो कविनाशकारकम् नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पारपङ्कजम् सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बिके गौरी नारायणी नमोस्तुते. Think of Shri Ram and say a prayer. Ram Ramiti Jaga Amiti Ananta Mahima Kahina Sakahim Shruti Shanta Ram Nam Joy Teta Bhulai Mahanisha Soi Leta Bhulai राम ही मही लखी लेका महेशु महापूज्य खरीदियु गणेशु राम रमीति रस गतित भक्ति घट मन के बजाता हिम कुलाटा प्रेम पटाटा राम नाम रसन रस शोभा मर्दन काम क्रोध मद लोभा रामचरित्र भज भयो सुजनाता महादेव मुक्ति के दाता ओम गुरुर ब्रह्मा. Everybody think of your Guruji. Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Prem Svalo Sampati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Let's join together as we do a couple of verses of his Sumiran. Jahi Sumirata Siddhi Hoy He Rama Gananayak Karivar Vadana Karahu Anugraha Soy He Rama Buddhi Rashi Shubha Guna Sadhana Mukha Hoy Vachala Pangu Chadhe Girivad Gahana Jasu Kripa Sudhayal He Rama Dravahu Sakala Kalimala Dahana Bando Guru Parakanj He Rama Kripa Sindur Nararupa Hari Maha Moha Tamapunj He Rama. Everybody. Jasu Vachana Ravi Karani Kara Shri Guru Charana Sarojarja Nijamana Mukura Sudha O Rama Nijamana Mukura Sudari Varano Raghuvara Vimala Jaso Jodaya Kapalachadi Buddhahina Tanujanike Sumiro Pavana Kumar. And you love Hanuman Baba? Come on. Sumiro Pavana Kumar Bal Buddhi Vedya Deho Mohi Bal Buddhi Vedya Deho Mohi Harahu Kalesha Vikar Siya Pati Ramachandra Ji Ki Jai Sharanam. Umapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Welcome everybody. So we want to enter into our discourse tonight. We're starting, as I said, chapter 59 in Kishkinda Khand, Valmiki Ramayan, for all my pundits and my readers, my listeners, those of you following on, tick it off in your book. Go and find it. I encourage with this age of knowledge, in this age of research and reference and proper reference. I hope and I pray for all my young speakers and, upcoming pundits, don't be the type. It's happening in other parts of the world where people are using artificial intelligence to generate things that are not, to say the word reality, it's not real. Be authentic. Let the God, rather than let somebody write a script for you, what long time they say copybook pundit, and they write out a speech and you read it like a teleprompter now. A vyas, when you see a pundit coming up on the vyas asana and they're bowing to this seat that is charged, kush grass, and the energy that is given to the seat with puja. The energy of Sri Ram, Mahadev Baba, Devi Mata is supposed to, let's say we light the diya inside and permeate from inside of you, out, coming out, giving the eloquence. Let the Saraswati give you the versatility of what? Yes, it's a book. Yes, it is written. But you now, as the teacher, have to mash up, mince this science, these words, this poetic language, and give it where an 80-year-old, look at the task, an 80-year-old could say, a 40-year-old could say, oh, that could work for me. A 15-year-old could say, oh, my troubles are not so bad. A 10-year-old, now Krsna, now Guru Diksha, now done, and they want to get into their dharma. You know what? I want to be like Hanuman Baba. Inspire them. That could only happen if you are an inspiration. And that comes by the blessings of God. So if you are looking on and you want to emulate your heroes, your pundits, your guru, then do it the right way. Begin with your prayer. You're guiding somebody to the idea of to do hawan. Don't be a stranger to sadhana. But use, what is sadhana? Sadhana is lighting your diya or finding your jal, doing your hawan. And you're honing your energy and your ability so that when you go there, Saraswati Mata is flowing and she gives you the words and the inspiration. There's some antenna maybe to use the internet. You don't see it. You don't know where this internet is flowing, but something is happening in waves, radio waves and different frequencies that gives you the knowledge that you see on your phone. And I'm just saying, let that wave of inspiration, Devi, flow through you so that you can give it. Mummies and daddies that are looking on, what we practice at home is what your children will profess later on in life and practice in their own life. If you fail to teach your children table manners, proper respect, proper regard, they won't know it later on and we will have other problems. So using our text and the inspiration given by God, granted by God, tonight we sit to listen to Kishkinda Khand. But if that God doesn't give you the knowledge, doesn't give you the moment or the inspiration to hold your attention, then all that we are doing will shoot straight over. Imagine I'm talking to a 1-month-year-old popo. I could sing the best, I could have the best musicians, I could read from the best texts, but that 1-month-old is not ready for this katha, for this discourse, for the examples that are about to come. A person has to grow, but not physical only. A person could be aged and not be in line or interested to listen to something that would help. If you understand my meaning. Let me put it for you in a different way. My good friend Shivanand Maharaj, I always tell him, this is his anthem. You name it, when he goes to sing, he has to sing this bhajan. I remember your boy. O Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan Bando. If you're home and you're watching me, sing with me. Bando Charana Kamala Raghunan. What it mean? I worship Charan. Charan, what is Charan? Charan is from by the ankle, the heel, come to the toe, that is your charan. Charan Amrit. O Bando Charana Kamala Ragunan. I worship the lotus-like feet of Prabhu Sri Ram, whose grace dwells in all, in the form of bliss, happiness, the ability to be happy today, to overcome sadness, depression, to be prosperous, to know you was catching your tail at one point, and somehow I am able to see difference. What caused the difference? Did I really do it by myself? Bando Charana Kamala Ragunan. I worship his feet because he is the one who could cause me to be happy and allows me to be prosperous. Think about that. Jinake kripa sakala sukha sampati pawat jana bhaktana ur chandana pawat jana bhaktana ur chandana. Through his grace we attain happiness. Brothers, sisters, his pure-hearted devotee will take basma or chandan on their forehead, thinking of him, and because his name is chanted when that tilak is given, that chandan is pleased, the protection of Prabhu, Maryada, Purushottam, Sri Ram is with them. Listen to this verse now. Ready? Bhaktana mata charanana me bhagavan kripa kare sevak. Sevak means servant. I am his servant. I serve him. Bhaya bhanjana kripa kare sevak bhaya bhanjana. We salute your feet, Prabhu. I don't look at your murti, your head, your eye. My eye trained to watch your foot like Hanumanji. We salute your feet, Prabhu. Grant tender mercy and forgiveness on us and dispel our fear and what? The affliction. Tina tapa orajana manarana bhaya. Dura karat chiname janaranjana. Listen good, eh? He controls birth, he controls death, the type of birth, the type of death, the suffering in between, the powers of penance. The ability to pray, the ability to never be able to focus on anything. He is the giver or the taker of those abilities. Sri Ram bestows peace and removes the sorrows from the heart of his devotees. O Bando Charana. If somebody sings this bhajan, remember what this stupid pundit tell you. Why is this singer singing this Ram Stuti? Bando Charan, I worship your feet, Prabhu, because you is the one who could give me peace. For the person that is going through an addiction, the person who is in bad company, the person who is, cheating in marriage, the person who is making some really, really horrible errors, he could give you peace. He removes the sorrow. Sorrow is also the festering point of confusion. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to make this step in my life to his devotee. So, because he's the one who could do that, I worship his feet. I worship him, and by his grace, I will get bliss and I will get prosperity. Always remember why this is the anthem in Diwali. This is the anthem in Ram Navami. This is it. This is what we grew up singing, and this is why we sing it, because I echo the sentiment. O Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan. If I told you this, imagine I'm talking to my nephew. Son, worship that Murti foot because he could take away all your sorrows. My nephew with the hard head. Go watch me, Mamu. Man, that girl cheat on me. That girl do me this. She pull me. She drag me. Oh God, I don't know where my guts there. I don't know where my head there. I lost. I in the forest. I lost like Ram in the forest. I in the wilderness. I don't know where it's up and where it's down, Mom. You tell me that multi-foot could help me. And likewise, you could see that. You have children in 6th grade. You have children in standard 5, depending on which country in, getting into relationships, and they obviously cannot handle it. And when little friends break up, the pencil sharpener, they take out the blade. God, Tonight you're going to hear why worship the foot, Mamu Pandit Guruji? Why that foot? What that foot have? What could that help me? And this is a problem that you have in many homes. Because gone are the days, Dura Puja, like that here, works. Very often, when you don't know about sadhana, when you don't know about the prayer of God, to get somebody motivated to do it is very hard. So then we have discussions like this, satsang, where we sit together and discuss what? The example. In Gita, we hear that what Janak did, the people would do. What great people do, normal people emulate. So our text is structured in such a way. We have a star boy or a star girl, and they do. What do? They believed in Sri Ram. They worked for Sri Ram. Jatayu worked for Sri Ram. Sampati wants to be like Jatayu. Angad wants to be like Jatayu. Hanuman works for Prabhu Sri Ram. Then we want to be like Hanuman. Hanuman is emulated because of the pearl. Why he cracks the pearl? Everybody wants to follow. Why? Because of what they end up getting or what they end up being. So tonight, let's continue. Imagine I am trying to encourage my nephew, my hard-headed, my mule-headed nephew. Do you have a mule-headed person in your life that you are trying to motivate or you're trying to help? This is how we do that. Let's join together as chapter 59 begins. The monkeys, the Vanar army, had just allowed Sampati to offer his turpan, and he takes a dip after so long being trapped on that mountain. He gets to bathe. And we enter into our discourse. Having done our introduction, I hope you're ready. Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan Ramadutaya Vidmahi Vayu Putraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Jamvandam Vanar Shrishtaha Sahasarveshwaraye Palaghameha Bhulokta Sahasajotathaye Griha Griharaja Janam Bridhyate Ramadutaya Vidmahi. Everybody. Vayu Putraya Dhimahi Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat Tanno Hanuman Prachodayat. Umapati Mahadeva ki Jai. As we enter into chapter 59, this is, I'm starting at, slok 1. All the monkeys that were sitting close and had listened from where we left off last night, Sampati is so motivated. He is getting back his strength. We heard last night how he had flown up into the sky, and as Surya Narayana Swami is coming, his father Aruna is pulling the chariot. We listen to who his family is and so on. How the Surya, his intense heat burnt away, singed his wings. Now the leaders of the army, with sweet words uttered to this vulture, rising from where they were seated, now that he has done taken his bath. Imagine he's coming out of the river. See it in your mind. Jamwan says, on behalf of all the monkeys and bears, "Oh, king of the vultures, tell us, where is Sita? Whom saw her? How do you know about her? Who had abducted this person? Relate this and prove that you are truly a friend to us. You are truly an asylum to all these Vanar, all these bears that are here, and we were so close to giving up our life because we were despondent. We had given up. Our king would have been very disheartened, and we couldn't face it. Who is it that doesn't mind fighting Sri Ram by taking his wife, by incurring the wrath of Sri Ram? Who is so foolish? Which is as if he's rushing to his death, when the lightning mind, when that person with that swift mind, Lakshman, Laksh means rapid, like lightning, mind, mind. That person who has a very swift intellect, that person who have, in reality, a swift temper too. You're going to incur problems with him. Who is so foolish? Consoling them now. Sampati says, Give up your vow of starving. Give up that want of debt and listen attentively. Listen carefully as he starts to smile joyously. Hear how the abduction of Sita was heard by me. And from this story, you will understand me and my situation. As this lady was traveling, listen good, my dear ones, little ones. Long ago on this mountain, which was very remote because of the peaks, the jagged nature, it was not very nice to live on. It is hard to get there, it is hard to live there. The mountain range, as we talked about what a yojan is, in your reading, in your listening, you will hear yojan. Yojan is, in comparison to today's measurement, 8 miles. This mountain range is yojans in terms of the width. I am now old, and I find my vitality depleted. My own son, Suparshwa, he is a foremost amongst our kind, our bird kind, vultures. Vultures, this family, just to be clear for children, are scavengers. They eat on the rotten carcass of other life. This is just how God made them. In the food chain, for those of you in school and you're studying food web and the flow of the energy, there has to be the plant life. Then we have the herbivore and the carnivore. But you also need, it is imperative for a scavenger to help and aid in the recycling process. And so God made these types of creatures. To be quite clear, based on a question that somebody asked me, Sampati, Garud, when we hear Garud comes to eat the snakes that trapped Sri Ram on the battlefield when in the Lanka Khan, nowhere does it say Garud the vulture eats grass, to be quite honest. And like here, he says, because of this, my son had to nourish me by delivering, by bringing food on regular visits because of my plight, because of how damaged I became. Just as how the Gandharva, they chase behind the opposite sex, just as serpents have a violent temper and anger, we talked about their tongue last night, how it became split and everlasting. Intense is the fear of the antelope. They are so quickly agitated. They are ready to jump and run and skelter. That is their strength. We birds are noted for our appetite. We are always hungry. We always nibble. We always want something. We are always in search of something. On one particular day, my son came to me without food at an hour when I was already very hungry. The sun had set, and I was tormented with hunger, and I was ardently looking forward to this food. When will he come? When will he come? And he's not coming. But when he did come now, he has no food. And he came very humble, and he's honoring me, and I was using harsh words. Why did you come so late, Suparshwa? Why did you not bring food? What is wrong with you? And he made the following reply. He says, having flown into the air, looking for flesh to bring for you, I stationed myself in Mount Mahindra, sure that where I was perched at a point where different forms of life are passing in a passageway, I obstructed that passage. And I was sure whether it is from the water, whether it is from terrestrial or the land type of animal, I would have gotten something to bring for you. But then, as I was waiting there, a massive person, that what we call kajar, or the eyeshadow, whichever you could understand, a person as if he is walking mascara, so dark and scary looking, he's carrying away a lady that it seems to be glowing in that moment. Seeing them, I was resolved to bring them as your food. I was going to hold on to them, to bring them for you to eat. But then the person, the man, this dark, scary looking guy, he spoke to me with gentle words, and he asked me in a very submissive demeanor for permission to pass. Which sinful person listening to somebody who is unarmed with conciliatory words that are very liking and very humble? Oh Father, who would go and want to eat such a person? So for that reason, the way how he approached me, look at the attitude. I was only filled with felicity to allow him to pass. I would get something else. An eminent sage happened to be passing. Knowing it was a sage, I did not want to eat him. But he says, "Oh, vulture, do you know who that was? That was none other than the son of sage Vishrav. He has just kidnapped the Jagat Janani, the mother of this world, the Sita Mata. How is it you have allowed him to go and without doing any harm, he has passed?" Wow, fate is so powerful. After he had left, the Muni speaking like this, I was dumbfounded that it was none other than Ravan, the king of the demonic race. I remained looking on as the consort of the Sri Ram, son of Dasrath, as she was dropping jewels, their father, from her body as her hair became loose, as the cloth that was covering her hair, it fell to her neck. I saw it all. She is overcome with grief, dear father, and she's calling out loudly, "Ram, Ram, Lakshman, Lakshman," as her hair is blowing in the air. This is how my time passed, oh father. So it was Suparshwa, dear Vanar, who came to tell me of this, because I couldn't leave from here because of how badly I am damaged and how weak I have become. He conveyed all of this information to me. Let's hear what happens in the next sloka. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Shruyantam Tatra Vakshayami, Bhavatatam Puruye Shrashyam, Bandhamanti Bhyamyeta Sarvesham Karishyami Priya. O Jaya Bole Baba Tab Sharanam, 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 Jaya Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam, Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Even after actually hearing it, the idea of showing valor did not occur to me. Speaking about valor, I wanted a man, I should have go and fight. It did not occur to me. How could a bird who has no wings undertake anything, O Jamant? I, however, shall tell you something which can be done on behalf of myself. Used as I am, as I'm accustomed to them, helping others with my speech, my interpretation, my understanding because of my experience, my age. When you execute what I'm going to advise you, with your strength, with your ability, you and I will share in the blessings, the Seva, the service for Prabhu Shri Ram. This endpoint will be agreeable for both of us. Surely, I will do with my words and my intellect what you will do with your hands and feet. For that which is concerned of Sri Ram is equally my concern. There's no doubt about this. With your strength, with my intelligence, high-minded person, you will be able to overcome any problem, any predicament. Hence, you have been dispatched here by Raja Sugriv. The shafts of Sri Ram and Lakshman, which have been given by the Creator Brahma himself, has brought this moment into fruition. And that Prabhu who could subdue these three worlds is allowing his Leela to play so that 10-headed Dashanan could be destroyed. Truthfully speaking, full of energy and bodily strength, noting whatsoever, however difficult, you are capable, you are able, and you will be successful in his bidding. Therefore, do not tarry, do not delay. This is Slok 28. Do not waste any more time. Let your mind be made up. And soon find Sita Mata. For clever people, put faith in themselves, put faith in their God, put faith that they will be successful, and they do not delay by second guessing, by constantly doubting themselves. When a person does not have faith, and you cannot with conviction say, you know what, it's a challenge, I could do it, and with God's grace I could do it, then you are lacking faith, and that will cause you to not be able to progress, whether we're talking about in your job, your project, your schoolwork, your exams, riding the bicycle, eating the food, losing the belly, you name it. If you do not have that innate ability that I could do that. It looks hard, it looks tough, I could do it. If you don't have that, then you're lost. He says intelligent people, clever people, never have that type of procrastination type problem. They never doubt themselves. I trust in God, and you must trust yourself at some point. Jamwant is smiling, and all the generals in the army are sitting by him on the sides of Sampati, who had just offered the water, who had just talked all this. And with this confidence in Sampati now, they all wanted to speak to him more. Angad begins to speak. Let's hear what happens in Slok 2. Pahi pahi Gajanana Parvati Nanda Gajanana Tam Sadanda Mupta Sinha Tena Sarvesh Harabhir Britam Britam Janita Pratayo Harshate Sampati Purna Pahi 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 Gajanana Parvati Nanda Gajanana Parvati Nanda Gajanana. Is Angad sitting there? You know, sometimes you're sitting with people and you know when they have a question in their mind. You know there's something they want to say, but maybe they don't know how to begin or broach the topic. Angad is sitting there and he's ebbing to ask this question. So, reading the face of Angad, Sampati says, sit down and let me listen attentively, and let me tell you, whilst you have to be completely silent, let me narrate to you the details of how I know about who Sita, who Sri Ram is. Although I'm isolated after my wings were scorched by the rays of the sun, my limbs are overpowered by these rays of heat. I fell how many years ago on this Vindhyan mountain range? Oh, sinless Vanar. It took me, when I hit the ground, it took me 6 nights to become conscious. For such a period of time, I lay there moaning and aching and groaning, and by God's grace, I woke up, powerless, constantly fainting again and again, and I could not distinguish where I was. I didn't know where I was. I saw a mountain. Which mountain? Where am I? Then, by looking at landmarks, as I got up slowly and I moved, I recognized the river, the type of trees that was growing in this particular area of the country. Knowing where I was initially, I realized where I was in the Vindhya mountain, at the shore, in the southern part. The mountain which had many types of birds and contained many caves along its caves. And again, on this mountain, they had a holy hermitage. Even the devatas adored this place and would bow to the ground because of how much sadhana is done in this place. In this hermitage dwells Rishi Nishkar. Nishkar, he's a powerful repository of Vedic mantra and the sadhana that goes with it. How to practice the mudra, how to sit in the different asana, and then how to jagavi the mantras. Noted for rigorous austerities, Rishi Nishkar, who knew the right, who is right, and had now ascended to Swarglok, to heavenly regions, 8,000 years slipped past me. Listen to that again. The Rishi is living there. And one day Rishi has to die. He dies. He goes up, but he leaves Sampati on that mountain. 8,000 years pass after Muni has died. Descending slowly and painfully, when I had now fell upon the mountain. 6 days passed, I got up, regaining consciousness after falling from the sky. I reached slowly with a lot of pain to the plains where this ashram is sitting. And it was known for sharp pointed blades because I felt the choke of the kush grass. Eager to see Rishi Nishkad, I arrived here with great hardship, for he had been visited by Jatayu and myself many times in younger days, in more healthy days. In this place, fragrance, powerful breeze, sweetened by the scents of the flowers in the trees. The prayers that he does is so potent that it enriches. If you've ever seen a Gosine funeral in our family, when we finish this life of Hawan and prayers, and so much Hawan is done by a Gosine that when the Anteshti, when the funeral is going to be done, they bury a Gosine. A Gosine is supposed to go to the earth, having given up the attachment to the body, and you'll see they dig a pit and they cover the body. They reserve it for great souls. For if you go on YouTube and you search the funeral of Srila Prabhupada of the Hare Krishna Society, you will see a video of him being buried in salt. So great gurus, teachers, and people who practice and practitioners of sadhana. When you, as you know, constantly pull the energy from the light and the hawan and all that on your body, the body is preserved in the burial so that it is allowed to seep back into the earth. You are giving Mother Earth this battery so that she could recharge plant life, animal life, so that the cycle could be maintained. In this way, whilst life is within the body, Rishi Nishkar is able to maintain the plant life and the animal life. He says no tree is without blossom or fruits. When I was approaching the hermitage, my body is very weak, and I took shelter under this great tree, and that's how I know how the tree is full with flowers and fruit. And I know I was close to him. As I saw in the vista, a dazzling light where stood, because of the opulence of his aura, the tage that is coming off his body because of the amount of siddhi, the amount of sadhana that he does. It could be nobody else but this sinless Brahman called Rishi Nishkar. This person, his face is facing north. He wasn't watching me yet. And around him, I'm seeing bears, different type of tigers, lions, serpent, different type of life. Whether they're carnivore, predator, or they prey, nobody's fighting. Everybody's around him. And everybody's calm and coexisting peacefully. In this moment, when he's seeing him, as he had now reached to the hermitage. And as the Muni is heading back into the inner part of the hermitage, all the animals start to depart for their dens. Just as when the king is going into his palace and he's going to rest, the army pulls back, his ministers disperse to give him privacy in the same way. The Rishi was pleased to see this person now, as a guest had come to his hermitage. He goes into the ashram and he comes back out after an hour. And he says, "Oh friend, why have you come to the ashram? Why have you come to look for me? I'm seeing you do not have feathers. I'm seeing your body is maligned. I see these marks of being burnt on your body. My friend, what has caused you to be in this condition? What is causing you to be in this way?" He says, "I feel I remember you, two vultures long ago, two brothers in fact, the rulers of that family, who could vie with the wind, the speed of light, capable of changing form when necessary. I saw them, and you remind me of them. Assuming human form, you remind me of the elder of the two. I remember their names, Sampati and Jatayu, but in this form where there are no feathers, I don't know. I remember Jatayu held on to my foot out of respect, so humble, although he's a king, humble. Is this what you are going through in the malignment, in the all the marks on your body? Remember, it did now happen 6 days. So you could imagine maybe on his chest or wherever it had marks of blood, burnt flesh from all the roasting, the darkness as if somebody gets burnt. For all our victims of fire and burn and different types of heinous moments, please listen. He says, is this some symptom of some disease appearing on your body? Are you sick with something? Why are your wings looking like this? Is this punishment that somebody gave you sharp? Is it inflicted upon you? Please tell me. I am interested to know what has caused your situation, your dilemma. Listening to the words of the sage, Sampati started to talk to him about their ill-thought plan about going to the heavens to fight. And we had decided to fly. And very quickly we wanted to go chasing the sun. And in this arduous journey, I cannot narrate at length all that went on. He tells the money, because of my body is very weak, but having taken a vow on the peak of Mount Kailash in the presence of all the hermits in that place, the sun must be followed. So they jumped up. Me and my brother Jatayu, is me, it's me, Sampati, it is me. But because of his condition, he didn't make him out too clear. Me and my brother, we were anxious and we left with a lot of speed and haste. We flew. And because of our pride and our strength and youth, we thought we could do it. And we flew very far. Please, for all my young people, before I read this part, consider what I'm saying. We have Google Earth, we have outer space, we have mission control, we have videos from space shooting back at the Earth. So we have an idea through Google how the place looks when the person is leaving the atmosphere. When the person is outside in space and looking back what they see, we see it in TV shows. At this time, those things are not existent. They do not exist. Hear what he says. Having reached the sky together, we distinctly perceive the cities on this earth surface equal in size to the wheel of a chariot. So you have a chariot and you have the roads, meaning the spokes on the wheel now, see it, the main and the outer. Look at the imagery. In one region of the sky, we heard sounds of musical instrument, and then we went in a different height, in a different section of the sky, and we heard the jingling of ornaments that women would wear on their feet. In the third region, we heard numerous singing young ladies that were clad in red. We were rising from one region of the atmosphere to another atmosphere. In today's world, we hear about stratosphere and different layers in the atmosphere as we are heading from where we have the oxygen and all the different nitrogen and the things that we breathe in, and then we have the layers, and then we are out of space. We are outer space. We are outside the atmosphere of the earth. This guy is saying it long before a telescope existed. Speedily rising above the region immediately below the pathway of the sun. Having reached the path of the sun, we found forests looking like a grassy plot. Imagine in this moment, see it for yourself, me, you, and Sampati looking back at the earth high up in the sky, and it seems that what was once bushy Amazonian type of forest, you see the tree looking tall because we are at the bottom of the tree, but put yourself on top and you're looking down. He is saying he saw the forest looking like a carpet of grass, flat. Well, looking down here, just look like grass like that, flat and one way. Thickly covered mountains. The earth looked as if it was pebbles thrown, whether it is on land or amongst water. Imagine you are so high, see it in your mind. It looked like, let me just say, imagine in the forest, you have a mountain coming out of the forest. So the stone is stone, it look like a gray stone that is in a carpet of green, dropped in the middle. See how clear this description is. Thickly covered thickly covered mountains on the earth look as if they are pebbles surrounded by water. So the big mountain that is in the ocean and different parts of the world and so on look as if they are surrounded by water, pebbles that were dropped in a pool of water. Sorry. The terrestrial globe appears to be surrounded as they go. Now imagine how many years after the earth is flat, because I'm limited to only seeing when I watch the horizon, it looks flat. So when the Europeans were discovering and taught, and there are people in the Midwest in America will tell you the earth is still very flat, contrary to what science is teaching. Sampati, who is a subhuman species, is saying to Angad, the terrestrial or the world, the land globe, a globe could only be a circular thing, appears to be entwined like a ball that is twined, that is wrapped with thread. The thread is the web of rivers that they would have seen from that height, looking down. The big rivers, the Ganges and so on, look like thread, brown thread with the water. See it in your mind and understand the imagery. How could you know this? You don't have Google. You don't have the atlas. You don't have outer space. You don't have satellite. You don't have none of this. How would you know this? Then I saw the Himalayan range, the Vindhyan mountain range, huge mountain like Meru. Listen to this one. And it looks as if upon the earth, as we were so high, these big Maha mountains that we look up at, that we pay homage to when we bow to the Kailash, for example. People talk about the roof, the ceiling of the world is the Himalayan. But when at that height we were looking downward, it looked as if there was a pond of water. The earth seems, as far as your eye could see, water. But the mountains now seem as if elephants are standing in the pond. The hard back of the elephant, remember you would see one dimension, the brown back. Planted permanent, it's not moving, it's staying in one place, it's a mountain, but the gray color of the stone is standing like an elephant in the pond. So imagine now what is happening here. A very old fella is trying to describe to Angad, who has never gone outer space, who has never gone in the trajectory, in the pathway of the sun, he's never risen to that height, what the earth looks like. Intense perspiration and fatigue overcame us because of where we were, and violent unconsciousness overcame Jatayu. And when he started to fall, because of my love for him, I had to protect him. And I did. And falling back upon this earth, he went to Janastan and my body fell in the Vindhyan mountain. And with this, it is as if whilst we were falling and I looked and I saw the circular globe of the sun, the earth seemed circular and just as large as the sun. Why would it seem just as large? It's because where they were located, think of the time of the year, or you are looking at the rotation of the planets around the sun. How, at this early stage in mankind, if somebody says, I don't believe in what is contained in our text, you explain to me how somebody could describe this so vividly. I had to close my eyes because of the rays of the sun penetrating my eyes. Without taking leave of me, Jatayu started to fall, and as I told you, I had to rush behind him to get him, and this is where my wings were burnt. And when I dropped to the earth, oh Muni, as he's relating to the Muni, remember what is happening here. Nishkad is listening to Sampati tell his story. Why is he burnt? He says, my wings got burnt and damaged, and as you could see, all the feathers, the handsome form you knew when I came with Jatayu to bow to you, after protecting Jatayu, all of that got singed and damaged. Now, I remain on this peak, disfigured, marred in this way, scraped and damaged, having submitted to Nishkar, the foremost of sages as above, I, Sampati, is talking to Angad now, I, Sampati, distressed as I was, dropped my head to his feet and I started to bawl. O Muni, O Muni, O Muni, O Great One, you who know God, you who know God, please give me back a pair of wings. Give me back my vitality. Give me back the valor. A bird is meant to be in the sky. A bird that is big with a wingspan as mine, as I had it. It is as if God has given to me this body, but I cannot enjoy the benefits of the body. To fly, to go, to see the freedom, to see the world, to see God's creation. I cannot do none of it. It has actually been heard by me in old tradition, the history, very remarkable, that how great your powers are. Oh, Muni, please, please help me. And the Muni in reply, he says, it is known to me from a long time that something remarkable is going to take place here in the future on this mountain. Now Sampati now begging for the wing. Muni is answering, follow me, don't get lost. He says, this place has there's a reason I built the ashram here. There's a reason I built this hermitage here. I know of, there's something happening. It has not only been learned by me through hearsay, you know. Remember, you and I have a physical text. Excuse, you know me and Metro. Me and you have a physical text. Now children have everything in their device. In these times, there was no physical text. Understand this. In those days, it was learned. The scripture was learned by repetition. So if I say, Shri Guru Charana Saru Jaraja, the student has to say it back to me. Shri Guru Charana Saru Jaraja, the only remnant that we have in the Western world of this. When you go for your Guru Diksha, and your Diksha mantra is whispered in your ears, Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji says, and the Chelha says it back, Om Namah Shivaya, by repetition, you remember. Have you ever seen that? Take your student and put them in front of the board. Teach mommy, teach me, Sachin. Teach mommy that geometry question. Teach mommy the maths, teach mommy the science. And when they go and they have to explain it and answer the question and answer everything and do it, they learn it. Our Dharma, our Sanatan Dharma did that. That was the tool. As time is passing and people are invading and they're destroying our teachers, they had to document it. So they took leaves in the early versions of the books and they wrote it down so that it would be preserved from books with the printing press being created. These texts that we know today, these texts were created. With translation, it became more popular. With things like the internet, it started to spread in e-copy or a soft copy. All the same. But as we evolve, cannot forget. He says, not only did I learn it by hearsay, but it is foreseen because of my drishti, the vision, that just like you, Sampati, you could see. Last night we heard how he could see up to 100 yojan, 800 miles. As a vulture, he could see food in front. But as a Muni, because of my energy, God gave me the drishti, just as Arjun sees Sri Vishnu in the Virat form. I could see in the future, cross time now, I could see in the future that by virtue of my sadhana, that there's a king, there's a time coming by where there will be a king called Dashrath from the Ishwaku family. He will have a son that will be endowed with great energy that will be born to him. It is so funny that Valmiki, the writer of this Ramayan, does not show the godly bowing that and honor. And this is you're only going to see this when you study more Valmiki in comparative to the Jwala Prasad, to the Tulsidas Ramayan. Tulsidas looks to Sri Ram as Prabhu, God. But Valmiki looks at Sri Ram as a man that has some super moments where he's beyond God, as we talked about last night, as the Maryada. He's going to be endowed with extraordinary energy. Because Sri Ram does say, let me explain that. Sri Ram does say, I incarnate as a man for the benefit. He's not, Valmiki is of the opinion he's a little spark of the Mahavishnu. He is not the end all. He is not all. Understand that. Hanuman is a little form of Lord Shiva. Sri Ram, yes, is divine. We are all divine beings. We all have a little bit of God in us. We all have the ability to have God-like qualities. But, as we explained last night, he has more than. So here he has extraordinary energy. And he will be born to Dashrath. His name will be Ram. Because of his unfailing prowess, he will come to this forest. He will proceed here with his younger brother, Lakshman, his half-brother. His consort, Sita Mata, will come. And an ogre, a demon, born in the line of Naidati, the deity that is presiding over the southeast direction of the Dasdigpal. Ravan will be his name. Dashanan will be his name. Incapable of being slain by the Devatas and other demons, Ravan will become very powerful. He will become a scourge upon this earth. And this form will come to rid the earth of him. When he carries off Sita from Janastan, that is when his death warrant will be signed. That would be the trigger. In science, there has to be something that initiates the reaction and then the responding. What causes the response? The stimulus, the response. The stimulus is when he kidnaps or he touches, according to the Shrap of Vedvati, when he touches Sita, when he holds on to her hair and he grabbed her leg, as we heard in the first night. That was the moment. The entire Leela had to be triggered by something, and that was the something, because he was also there when her Swayambar is being done. Last night we talked about the lifting of the bow. But now, that moment, as I'm seeing it, the Muni is looking out, and in his mind, the vision, the drishti, ashta siddhi now nidhike data, the darshan that he has because of his prayer, just as Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra in Gita about what is happening at a distance, as Valmiki has the vision. This vision is in this Nischad, and he's saying in the future, plunged in sorrow, this illustrious and highly born prince will come acting as a human and will be searching for the girl, for Sita. Indra will send Mithili with boiled rice, sugar mixed in milk to feed her where she will be kept. And when she receives the dish, even Sita will say, as she offers some on the ground, if my husband or Lakshman Bhaiya is alive, or if they have attained the celestial state, let this food, as she takes out food in case they are dead, offer it on the ground. Because remember, when he goes for the deer, she doesn't know, she doesn't get to see him come back and he's all right. She hears Sri Ram, Lakshman, help me. And so she lets Lakshman go. So she doesn't know. Dispatched as messengers of Sri Ram, O Sampati. Listen good. The Muni is guiding him here in the past. Dispatched as messengers of Sri Ram, the monkeys will arrive on this spot, in this mountain. Believe it. To them, O bird, the information about Sita, the consort of Ram, should be communicated to them by you. This is the role. This is why this hideous crime has been perpetrated against you. This is why you are disfigured. This is why you are damaged. This is why you are here now. On no account, however, should you venture out from this place. If you leave here, when you can go except for here. Wait for that suitable moment, that suitable time, and you will get back your wings. Remember, Sampati's head is by this man's foot, and he's begging, you have so much power, give me back my wings. And this is the response. If I can furnish you those wings, This very day, this very moment, I could give you those wings. But in case you fly away from this place, you will lose your duty. You will lose out on your ability. You will lose out on your purpose. Continue to stay here. You will do a friendly act of Seva, service to mankind by enabling Sri Ram to seek out and find Sita. Do your portion and part to kill Ravan through guiding his emissaries to find, not to give up, but to find Sita. That is your purpose in this birth. Indeed, it is your duty to render this service unto those two princes, Ram and Lakshman, unto the Brahmanas, those teachers that will come into this hermitage, even to Indra, as they are all interested in the outcome of this great moment and battle. I wish, oh Sampati, Muni, Nishchad, I wish I could come and have the blessing to serve Ram and Lakshman. And this is why I have been living here. But I do not wish to preserve this life for a long, untold period of time. I have been living here off the energy of my sadhana for some time, waiting for you. Thus spoke the great Rishi Nishchad, who for his part realized the substance, the Brahman that constituted this universe, had mastered the Veda. He understands the future and what is to come and why certain things have to be the way. Maybe if it was sinful people like me and you, we don't want to keep all the glory, all the good things for ourselves. But here he realizes that this universe is running on a bigger plan. And the plan isn't about me and you. It's simply that we have a part to play. If it is today we give a good word, a kind word, an encouragement for a younger head to do what must be done, to endure hardship, for brighter days are coming. There is a purpose to the lessons that we all learn. If that be a purpose, this is what the Muni is saying. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharanam Kandhar Ratu Visarpita Parvat Ye Swayam Shanuna Abham Vedya Samrat Bhave Patit Palan Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam Umapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. Having exalted me and guided me and talking to me with those words, he left me. Stay with your wings. Sometimes when we look at Hanuman Baba, when we look at Sita Mata, when we look at the different places, everybody looks perfect. Sitting where you are now, do you think Hanuman Baba is perfect? We love him. We love his murti, we love his pitya, but I want you to ask yourself truthfully, what does the name Hanuman mean? We love him, and I hear this katha, I know Guruji talked about this before. Hanuman is perfect. Hanuman is perfect. You're here just now. Stay with your malign, your disfigured body. Stay with your imperfection. God is coming. God has a plan for you. Imagine somebody came and asked, Baba, you know mantra? Give me a prayer now. Give me a prayer now and I'll take away all my hardships, all my sadness. And then the person go and pray and they do the puja because something happening in their life and they don't get the outcome. Oh boy. The Pandit got pay, God got pay, the Bedi got pay, everything bad, the Parasad bad, the now bad, everybody bad. But sometimes, do you look at yourself? Do you look at how you prayed or how, where you are at in your spirituality, Sampati is taken to the next level. That although you do good, sometimes bad things happen to good people. Crawling from that mountain cave, climbing up this mountain range, going back now, he left where the money was. The money done. Money tell him, but he had to tell him. And the money went inside, leaving him outside to fend for himself. And he has to go back up to the cave where he was sheltering. So he takes his time and he drag. And he reaches eventually. Having waited for you all in this cave, after that money talked to me that day, I stayed here and I diligently, we talk about Shabri. We speak about different people. Vibhishan is like the tongue around all the teeth in Lanka. All the different ogress and ogre and all the bad people doing bad things, and Vibhishan is in the middle, catching Hanuman's air. In the middle of all this bad, you find one light, Tulsi leaf is growing. Different places you find positive, you find people that inspire by the example of their life and choices. He says, I have been waiting here for you, Angad, you, Hanuman, you, all Vanars. I have been waiting. For how long? Remember this, everybody. Since that time when that money spoke to me, 8,000 years have elapsed from that day till this day. Bearing these words in mind of the money, I have been waiting for that predicted place and time. Sage Nishchar, for his part, gave up his body, gave up his form when he was ready. An agony. The money gone. And I'm alone. I'm isolated. I have nobody to talk to. I'm dependent on my children for food. You know how many people are in hospice, hospital, and treated less than horribly because you can't fend for yourself. Maybe I have Crohn's disease and I'm in Pampers, to be quite honest and straightforward. And look how I come, Baba. Why God let this happen to me, for example. And children, there are some children that encourage this indignity to our elders, to our loved ones. And people somehow love you when you could do for them. But when they have to do for you, it's different. When mommy could give me the nice food and the snack and the money and lend me the car, when mommy could say, okay, I like the girl, you like the girl too, ma? Yeah, mommy good. But the day you have to hold mommy hand, you're moving too slow. Some people walk that road every day. I remember, as I'm talking to you and I'm sharing these stories, so that children listening don't make these mistakes. I remember I went as a pundit, Baba, please come, such and such person, looking like doctor say, that is it there. There's not much we could do and to make preparations. So me and a couple of them went, and Gita in hand, and Manadini, before death, different passages and so on, just to pray, just to talk about Gita, to be positive, but to call God name, Shaligram Puja, before. When as a pundit and we do Nam Sanskar and Mundan Sanskar, and we see how the mother just hold the baby and caress, and I with my puha herself might jolt the neck or do hold up the neck. Pundit, we're doing. Hasuli man, child could, have a problem. And they treat that head, and mothers and grandmothers, mother-in-laws, all you know what I'm talking about, with so much regard. And that's just your neck, that's just your head. Now mommy on the bed, and if she get a bed sore, it's she fault. If she mess, she pampers, she get buff. I was standing there and the daughter is yelling at the mother, look, what is this? And the pundit come and this is how you do. And I, to myself, just wondered, when you was in Pampers, you had control? And this is, it takes us, it takes a lot of maturity, and I respect people who care for their loved ones, whether aged or otherwise. And you have to deal with pampers every day, day in, day out, parents. But the indignity that some parents have to face when you were learning to crawl and walk and you were stumbling and falling, you were cute and everybody held on to your hand. And that time, mommy had to walk slow to hold you. Daddy had to walk slow with patience to walk with you. But now daddy and mommy in walker and cane. And they can't walk fast enough. When I went, and as I remember in this, Ma is lying on a bed, a little, long time they would say a settee, an outside bed. And the people put mommy under the clothesline and wet clothes is dripping. On this person. I thought first, I really did not pay attention. I didn't. I'm not lying. I did not pay attention to the clothes. I went and I see this cloth, they hiding you, and I troubling the lady. So I see a smile, but then when I pay attention, the chest wet, the neck wet, the face, the clothes dripping. What do you call that? He says, I have been waiting here in this invalid form for 8,000 years. And the agony of this type of life has always been eating at me. It has been consuming me for so long. But I always remember the words of my guru. Well, I'm saying his guru, the Muni, Niskar. I have been fighting with the mental thoughts of suicide, which, and word for word, Slope 5. This is chapter 63. For those people that want to go and read it, please do. I have been remembering the words of that Muni. And by his words, I'm full of faith because I trust him. I have stayed here diligently, waiting on you. With that determination, he inspired me to preserve my life and not to give up, to take away my agony, even as a blazing flame would consume darkness. The light, the dear light, pushes away darkness. The hope, the possibility that one day you, Angad, Hanuman, Jamond, and army would reach here, be the emissary of this personality called Sri Ram. And Sri Ram is the remover of agony, pain. He's the bringer. What did our bhajan? Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan. He is the giver of bliss and prosperity. With that hope, I held on to that. When it would creep into my mind, is better I dead. And just the hope, just the thought that one day you are coming, today you are coming, today you will come, today I will see you. I held on for all those years. And for so long, you didn't come. He says, when I heard that you spoke about Jatayu and the stealing, I felt as if, without words, in the earlier chapters in Kishkinda Khand, where we talked about last night, when I heard, I doubted what I heard first. I forgot the monkeys. When he says, when the Muni told me that an army of the workers of Sri Ram would come, of smaller life forms, in the moment I'm so overbrought by this hunger, I did not recognize the army in front of me. The moment had come. I did not see it. I did not realize it. And then you mentioned Sita, and I felt like words couldn't come from my mouth. I couldn't believe that my moment was here. And then it was a bittersweet moment because Jatayu dies. He says, I remember, Suparsha. I asked him, he cuts off himself and he says, how come you didn't save Sita? When remember, how does he know the story of Sita kidnapping? His son sees the person. How come you didn't come in to know of Ram and Lakshman being deprived of Sita? Why didn't you, well, I guess Sampati would have told his son what the money told him. Why didn't you save her? If you know that was Sita, why didn't you save her? Which is, just by rescuing her, it would have brought happiness to Ram and it would have brought happiness to us. Why it wasn't done by my son? Dashrath is a friend of Jatayu. And even while Sampati was speaking, the monkeys collected together. As he's talking and tears is running down his eyes, he says, I wanted to know why he didn't save them. And as the monkeys are standing there in the moment, from his frail form, let's hear what happens. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Samba Sada Shiva Tab Sharanam. Utapate tu tasya da paksho samaksha samvachana chiranyanam sada drishtva swayam tum shri pakshya rudra rudhandav jaya bole baba tav sharanam jaya bole baba tav sharanam. Shlok 9. Even while Sampati was speaking about his confusion, sitting, waiting there for so long, how angry he got with his son. Why didn't you save? Why didn't you save him? You were there and you saw it and you could have stopped this. And the joy and the blessing that would have fulfilled in that moment, you would have done it you would have been my son and you would have done it. And speaking like this, whilst he's midway talking, a pair of wings appeared on his body. They appeared on either side of his frame. He experienced a revigoration, a revitalization. The ecstasy was unparalleled, unequaled. His body was covered now by a fresh coat of newly grown feathers. Feathers that as his body twitched, they would stand on, like what you might see in a swan or a goose or a peacock. Looking at the moment, looking at this miracle, looking at this transformation happening in front of them, the monkey, the Vanar army, they are bewildered, they are confused, and at the same time they are inspired by the grace of the Raj Rishi, this royal sage, Niskad, whose eminent spiritual power. Look, my dear friends, my pair of wings have been completely burnt. It was burned and reduced to singed flesh by the sun, have newly appeared. I, in my form today, I have the same power, strength, and virality that I had in those days in my youth. Let all your effort that you are going to do, to exert, to trace and to track Sita Mata by this example, may it give you the encouragement to stand fast and stand firm in your resolution. Do not get weak. Do not give up. Look at the transformation that this sinner has undergone by simply fulfilling the words, by simply telling you what needed, that little gap, according to the words of the money, that little part. I didn't lift a mountain. I did not build a bridge. I did not do anything physically, do anything. No. I threatened to eat you. And then I told you what my son saw. That's all. And based on that, my desires my desires more than I envisioned. I never thought I would feel this young. It is as if I have gotten back my life. Take this example, dear devotee, dear Varner, and be motivated to do good, to be good, and to be like Sampati when this life beats you and mills you and pressures you. Remember what we said last night, there's no devil in Hinduism. God. God is in charge of good and bad, reward and punishment, depending on this thing called karma. You will see good in your life, or you may see bad. You want to get good in the scale of good and bad actions, do more good, do the yagya, do the sacrifice, do something that will generate good or punyam. Do sadhana, do something. Stop your laziness, stop being complacent, stop losing faith, stop procrastinating. Tomorrow I go for the dar, tomorrow I go do my havan, tomorrow I go make time to go in the temple. Stop it. There comes a point where you could fool everybody, and that's fine. Baba, I well fast. That time you eating hog, dog, chicken, everything. And you there in front your murti, try to fool God. Good luck. You could fool me. I don't be there with you with roti and rice and bread and whatever else. I am not there. So it's very easy to fool the Pandit. The Pandit does a lot of work on faith, on trust. Pandit, I fast properly. Pandit, I'm physically and mentally ready for that praise. Pandit, I believe in God. Pandit, I am honest. I can't argue with you. I'll believe you. But God, who is the judge, we identify that point, who is weighing our good and bad, He is watching. And could you imagine if at home your murti could talk? If your murti could only talk, I wonder what that murti would say. So you come in to do prayers? Who are you trying to fool? At some point, my point is this, at some point we have to stop fooling ourselves. At some point, you have to look inward and see what we are doing, because sometimes life gives you good things and we abuse them. Health, happiness, finance. We waste, we squander it. We squander the years, the relationships we have, sister, brother, mother, father, spouse. Throw it away. And then when you lose it, should not do that. You live a life of regret. But Sampati is showing that you and I, that even when things are bad, really hard and really, really bleak, you hold to your feet. You persevere. You as a person, Sudama, persevere. Mirabai, persevere. Stand fast. Stand firm in the ocean that is trying to push you and rock you like a boat in the sea. Stand firm. Stand in your faith. No matter what comes tomorrow, lift your two hands and fight. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, it tells Arjun, pick up your bow. I don't want you to study what on that side. Pick up your bow and get ready to fight. We're going to fight. In this life, the devotee picks up his feet. And that which we believe in is paramount. But if I do not know, my God, if I do not know as a Hindu, what makes you a Hindu? For example, if somebody says the concept of karma, the concept of God is one, but He takes different forms. The idea of the Devi, not everybody worships the female form of God. The concept of, beef is bad, cow is holy. Worship, inside the person when somebody says Namaste, Sitaram, Namaskar, and they bow to the God that lives inside everybody. God lives within everybody. Those things make you a Sanatanist, what we loosely call Hinduism, Hindu. When you know who you are, self-realization, God realization, when I know God, then with that faith in that, when I understand that and I'm growing, as the problems are growing and the troubles are growing, when they're 5 months old, the problems are there. But when they get 25 and legal problems, money problems, car accident, relationship trouble, oh boy, as they get older parents, the problems get bigger. And there comes a point we have to fight. You have to fight. You have to know how to fight. And using knowledge as the bow in Arjun's hand. That's why we had the Gita, because he had the teacher. The recovery of wings on my part is a pledge of success, and it is a preface, it is a premonition of your success. This shows that I have fulfilled my duty in helping Sri Ram's Leela. I never got to touch his foot. I'm not blessed like you. But I served his feet. What? Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan. I worship his feet. When I said the bhajan in the beginning and I told my nephew Sachin that, he didn't believe me. Why am I worshiping his feet? Sampati did. Sampati suffered and he lived the life, and this is why. Because he believed that he's the gifter of bliss and prosperity, as by his life experience. I'm sure if I speak to parents, if I speak to wives, if I speak to children that don't know how they pass the exam, and you see the hand of God working, weaving in your life, boy, I believe in my president. When I got that virus, I didn't know how to live. But I held on to my prayer and I survived. Then I worship his feet. Then I believe in touching that murti. I don't jump in that car without touching that pit here. I don't leave my house until I touch the dirt in the ground. I can't do it. Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan, Kamala Raghunandan, Kamala Raghunandan, Kamala Raghunandan, Kamala Raghunandan. O Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan. And in that moment, Sampati, foremost of birds on that mountain peak, seeing himself as he once was, in his opinion being a bird again, full with vigor, highly pleased in his mind, he looked up, and this power came over him, and with one push he escaped that spot. He flew up into the air, leaping with his full body into the air. The roar of that army as they celebrated this moment. His win was our win. That which was lost and that frustration that was there, when the power of Sri Ram comes upon the body and fulfills that desire of the devotee and gives him more than he asked for, the other person, the other devotee that sees it and acknowledges who is at work, did Sampati really heal himself after 8,000 years? Is this mysticism? Is this miracle self-done? Did I do it to myself? And when you have that drishti, that vision, to see it, just as how Sampati could see at a distance, just as Arjun sees Mahavishnu in the Mahavirat form, then when you see God's hand at work, then you become a devotee, because then you know why you are practicing devotion. Because I know what he could do. I know him. Now the army, very, 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 very motivated. They head to the south, the Indian Ocean, the south tip. And when they reached there, and they saw the volume of water standing in front of them, the monkeys felt very dejected. It was as if their hopes went up and it came right back down. How will our purpose be achieved? Slok 6, as we are in chapter 64. How are we going to overcome this? What kind of despondency is this? Every time we try, we cannot bear fruit. It is as if we are destined to doom. Meeting all the different monkeys, Angad calls council to ask, how are we going to span this water? And they start to talk about what monkey of extraordinary energy could leap this water, who will enable the words of Sugriv to take hold, to confirm what Sampati had said. This is 100 yojan, 800 miles. Who will deliver us from this predicament? Angad says, no, before Angad. Gaj, Gavaksh, Gavya, Sarabhya, Gandamanda, Menda, Dvaividya, Sushain, and Jamand, all the different elders, all the different leaders. God says I could leap for 10 yojan, not 100. That's 80 miles. So I'll fly and then I'll drop. Gaksh says I could leap at a distance of 20 yojan, but I can't make more than that. Sarabhya says I will cover 30 yojan, which is 240 miles, but no more than that. Rishabh says I would be able to make 40 yojan, 320 miles, but no more than that. Gandamanda says, dear Prince Rajkumar, I would be able to make 50 yojan. And like that, they started to describe, showing respect to all of them, and that's but Jaman, the oldest of them all. He says, formerly, we too as bears were able, with great strength, able to make great leaps. The capacity of bears to leap was exemplary. The leaping capacity now of me, I can't do much. I could only do 90 yojan, 720 miles, which is just short of the 800 which is needed. He says, O jewel of the Vanar army, I do not have this ability. But in the past, when the son of Virochan, the grandson of Raja Prahalad, who is known as Raja Bali, when you get the Mauli on your hand, when the dwarf had descended upon the earth, when that yagya was done, I was there in that yagya. I am so old. And when Mahavishnu is in that form as the dwarf, and he was stretching, when he was measuring the universe from one step to two step to third step, when that was being done, I was able to walk around him. I did parikrama around him 3 times. And today, this is why I'm still here. This is why that darshan follows him. This is the answer, devotees, for those people. When you look at the full moon, as Lord Krishna did in, you'll hear it in Mahabharata and Bhagavad, when he gets the blame with the gem and Krishna has to fight Jamwant. Why is Jamwant so selected and so powerful? Why does he live so long? Why does Jamwant's daughter get married to Lord Krishna? It's because of this little slip he is explaining here. When Lord Vishnu comes in the dwarf in the Vaman form and he gets to walk around him, the reason why we do the arati with 3 circles is a shortcut for walking around the murti or the monument or the temple or the havan, the yagyashala. By walking away from all my past sins, I had gained great amount of Bardhan or Punyam. But now I have grown old. My strength is not as it once was. I become tardy in my movement, in my leaping. I can move, but I can't leap as I once did. Success in this undertaking is not guaranteed if you depend on me. Angad said, well, then I could do it. I could jump 100 yojan, 800 miles, but I may not be able to come back. I'll be too exhausted. Jaman says, you are our prince. It is inappropriate to send forth because we don't know what is on that side. We don't know how aggressive they will respect or entreat with you. And you are very young. You are a prince for this district, for this army. It would be inappropriate without protection to send you there. If they should hold you captive, it would be a double whammy, a double punishment for us. We have already lost Sita Mata, now we've lost the prince. Dear child, you deserve protection just as how a husband protects his wife or family or parents protect children at all times. You deserve to be guarded because of your superior spot. And as this, please take it out of your mind that you should not be the person to do this. I do not wish to stir any problem amongst this army. As Angad replies to Jamant, therefore I retreat in my application. I will not do it. Death is bound for the person if we depart to go back Kishkinda without carrying out the instructions of Raja Sugriv, being this close, he will destroy us. Why didn't you cross? Why didn't you swim? Why didn't you find a way? Therefore, you alone, O elder, O Jamant, you alone can guide us out of this quagmire, out of this predicament. In this way, Angad entreats the learned Jamant, the jewel amongst the bears and his Vanar army, to find a solution. And in this way, he says, I do make one appeal now. I make an appeal to you, O Hanuman, prominent hero of this Vanar army, as we come to the end of 65. Listen, let me remind you of who you are. He says, where you came from in this Vanar kingdom, you are well versed in the scripture, and yet you are standing there so quiet, meek and mild as elders speak, but we humble in front of you. The inert ability that you have, you are equal to Garud. We heard from Sampati how great Aruna and Garuda are, but you, son of Arishtanaimi, son of Kesari, you are equal to the son of Arishtanaimi, Garud. And Arishtanaimi is another name for Kashyap Muni. You have the speed, you have the strength, you have the ability, you have the burden to do all of this thing that requires this untold, unnatural, Maryada type of energy, wisdom. You have that. When there was a Gandharva by the name of Punji Kastala who got a shrap by a Muni, she was born as a daughter to Kunjara. Kunjara is a monkey chief. His daughter, Punji Kastala, is reborn as Anjani or Anjana. So the grandfather of Hanuman is Kunjara. She became the wife of Kesari. Kesari is the incarnation of Vayudev, Pawandev, Pavana Putra, Pawan's son, Hanuman. She could convert her form from human, from Gandharva, back to monkey. And it happened at one point when the Putrish, the Yagya was being done, the prasad that was dropped, she ingested, and you came into the pitya. In this way, when you, as time passed, as Anjana and Kesari is blessed by the Father with full of extraordinary courage, extraordinary energy, extraordinary strength, prowess, he will prove to be equal in jumping and leaping. As now, bear in mind, this is a different to the story that you and I grew up knowing from the cartoon and so forth. That is taken from Tulsidas Ramayan, where Hanuman Baba is menacing and troublesome. Satisfied with the words of the father, Pawandev, she gave birth in a cave, O Hanuman, jewel amongst monkeys. Seeing the sun at one point in this extensive forest, still a child, bounding with that inert energy, you rose to the sky, jumped, and when you reached a very high altitude, taking it to be a fruit, you reached 3,000 yojans, which is 24,000 miles, and we are only talking about 800 here. O great monkey, you were repulsed by the brilliance of the sun. You did not meet with despondency on that account. The heat that was coming was burning him. Still going for the sun. Seeing you rising into the sky and not being perturbed or stopped by the heat that is coming off the sun, Indra let loose his thunderbolt in violence, with rage, with power against you, as he was possessed with a lot of anger, dashing you to the summit of a mountain. When it hit you, with the result that your left side of your chin got fractured. As a result, from this time onwards, your name became Hanuman. Hanuman. Cleft palate, broken jaw. Hanuman, one with, and I'm reading, this is slok 24 of, just to be clear, 66. I'm in chapter 66, verse slok 24. The person with the broken or the defective chin. So imagine in this world, people have different birth defects. Hanuman Baba is not perfect. For the person that thinks perfect is, God is perfect. The Devatas is perfect. In the story of Hanuman, is not so. Seeing you badly injured, Pawan Dev himself got very angry and he withdrew the air of this world. All three worlds, everybody got perturbed. The Devatas became very perplexed, and one by one all of them came and gave you great amount of prowess and power. Surya Narayan Swami was elected to be your guru. And for this reason you were taught about this skill. During the descent of Vaman, who measured this entire universe with 3 feet, or dear child, this globe with all its mountains, forests, woodlands, and so on. And I, going around him, at one point was able to do it 21 times. And that took a lot of energy. In obedience to the command of the Devatas, the herbs, with the help of nectars that was churned from the ocean, was gathered by me. I collected what we talk about today being things like dubgrass. Since that time, extraordinary strength has always lived within me because of the contact and the godly and godly things that I do. But even there, the energy has weaned over time. I am now old and destitute of power. And you are the only person amongst us that has the virtue and the present ability to do what is necessary to save us. Get up, O tiger amongst man, and leap over this little ocean. You have done so much more in past, and you can do more now. How can you ignore your kingsman, your kin? Look at their face. Get up, Hanuman. Encouraged by Jamant and all the bears and all the monkeys, Hanuman, son of the wind, expanded from that moment as we come to the end of 66, chapter 66. In that moment, and as far as he could see, Jamant saw this massive Mahavirat form of Hanuman grow into the air, into the sky. This is the form, this moment in Valmiki's Ramayan is depicting the form that in Mahabharata, where Bhim is asking when he meets him with the tail in the road. I want to see your true form, Hanuman. I want to see that great form in the air, in the sky. And Hanuman tells him, I don't use that form anymore. This is the time when Hanuman first used that huge form. Shaking off grief at seeing the sight, at the expansion of Hanuman, the army became lifted again and they started to squeal and yell. The name of Ram thundered on the seashore because of his might. This blessing created by simply the wish and the will of Mahavishnu. When he had resolved to measure this world, Hanuman now shows the strength of that, from that little form that he was, to this huge, magnanimous form now. By the will and the power of Mahavishnu, he stands credit. He stands to be the person that will inspire you and I when we are downtrodden, when we hold faith, the power, the inherent power that is within each and every person to overcome the adversaries and the different predicaments that we find ourselves in. It is there, latent, lying dormant within us. And if we allow that mechanism to trigger, if the Jamant comes into us to trigger that type of movement, then we can grow in the moment, just as Hanuman did, bringing excessive joy to those around us, just as he did. Circulating in space in the form of the wind shattered mountain peaks. Dear Father, you who is called Pawan Dev, I claim descent from your body and your lineage. Be my guide. Be my blessed. In Tulsi Das, you will hear this part where he's calling on Sri Ram. But here again, you will see Valmiki is not referring to Sri Ram. There's no Jai Ram, Jai Sri Ram. He's thinking about his father, the divinity, the God. I circumambulate you 1,000 times, just as I would the mountain. May you give me the push. May you give me the strength to make this jump. And as he listened to them and he said his prayer and he bowed to the land, Hanuman, foremost of all monkeys, endowed with extraordinary might, rest his feet on the Mount Mahindra, and he was ready like a mountain himself, protruding through and over through the clouds, pressed under his feet by that exalted soul. This huge mountain started to squeal as all the animals on the surface of the mountain started to run as if a lion was attacking them. The different rivers, the different water was as the mountain is going under with the weight of this being. And all the monkeys stood there in awe. Having composed his mind, that high-spirited Hanuman set in his heart to fulfill the wishes of Prabhu Sri Ram, now endowed with the speed of the wind, to move swift as the wind, focused his mind on his goal, and with the power of Sri Ram, with the blessing of Sri Ram, he possesses that might, betook himself. Now it is time to head to Lanka. It is time to see my mother. It is time to go. Manaha samadaya manumavo jana malanka manas manaki savedavana vegyana hanumana hari parivar paravanaya hanta o hanumana vriksha bhiksha samagrita lajwal Shilo Chaya Sadeva Sahita Kanatara Sahita Ye Ishwara Lankasa Pavana Putra Hanumana Ki Jai. With this in his mind, with this thought, with this power coming over his body, Sri Ram's motive, Sri Ram's blessing and power gave him the strength to now become the inspiration that we hold till today. Till today, we hold on to Hanuman Swami. Till today, we sing his Chalisa. Every Saturday, you are calling on Hanuman, putting Kapi Dwaj red flag, because of the devotion he held to Sri Ram, because of that love, that blessing, that darshan. If he is great, greater is the blessing of Sri Ram, because it is Sri Ram that makes him great. It is when you worship the feet. Where is Hanuman? And the feet of Sri Ram. Bando Charana Kamala Raghunandan. When I touch his foot and that darshan is upon my body, I could grow over all my challenges, sickness, and trouble. If we could only walk the path, if we could only emulate the path, if my nephew with his hard-headed could only emulate what is contained here, like Sampati, like Jatayu, now Hanuman. The troubles, the predicaments, the hindrances that hold you back, rather than you get despondent like the monkey army, you could fight and fly like Hanuman and cross it and go from where you are to where you need to be to achieve your goal. If your goal, like Sita, if the goal be this hard to reach where nobody could find, nobody knows how to motivate you to get to that end point, God could do it. But you have to hold it, you have to want it, you have to work for it. Sampati had to work for it. Jatayu had to work for it. Hanuman has to work for it, and he has to grow into it. And you could do it too. Pavana Putra Hanumana Ki Jai. Tonight, as we come to the end of these 3 nights together, it has been my blessing and my opportunity to be together with you yet again in Dharma, in Satsang, in this way, discussing Valmiki Ramayan. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned from it some details that really are not contained in Tulsidas Ramayan. I look forward, as we are celebrating the global Diwali that is happening again on the 22nd of January. I'm sure you'll see it more and more. Join together with us, the team at the Sri Krishna Seva Ashram, as we will be doing more online Yagna. You will follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Sankhya Television, wherever you get this feed. Please leave your comments, ask your questions, get involved. Encourage your children to sit down and listen and learn about the Lord so that they could know when things get bad and hard what to do. Please let us maintain our tradition and culture of reading and depending on God, learning about God, and not only doing things that are not godly. In this time of Kali Yuga, we must resist. We must fight the good fight. We cannot allow it to consume us. We must be vibhishan, that although it is around us, we are fighting the good fight, and we become the deer of Sri Ram, holding this light, holding on to the goodly and godly in sight of darkness, and don't join the dark side. We can't do it. From my part, I'm supporting your journey in this way. Please join and subscribe to our the YouTube channel, where we share more and more satsang like this. With your presence, with your support, with your subscription, it is an encouragement to do more satsang like this. Join something good. Follow me on WhatsApp, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Facebook, and you will be able to join in when we are doing these things. And give me a little idea, give your Baba a little encouragement. Tell me what you want to hear, and it will just be a wonderful communication between me and you, so that one-on-one I could get a katha, go look what I don't know. Sometimes I read and I find, trust me, we are working the books. And if you see my books, they're highlighted because I believe this is just a tool to get to my God. And I want to help you and drag your children with me on this road. Please support my venture. As you will hear soon, Mommy Baba is going to send out a message. As we started already. Get in contact. You'll see my number listed. Get in contact as we are collecting clothes to do our clothes drive. We are collecting books. If you have books, gently used books, story books, school books, whatever you have, and you would like to contribute as we are trying to encourage literacy amongst our young people. As things get harder and harder, and parents don't have the extra support to get books for school children, rather than they go without. If your child has moved up, we could donate those books. And through the medium of the ashram, physically, we invite parents to come in a safe environment, supported by police, so that people could come and get safely whatever they could. Clothes for children, good clothes, East Indian and Western type of clothes, home clothes, going out clothes, whatever type of clothes. Mommy Baba will, share more, but please get in contact and join with us. When we are doing Bhagavad in July, I'm saying it again, for 7 years we are doing Bhagavad. Last year we started, this year will be year 2. From Guru Purnima Day in July, for all my pundits, please don't book Yagya with me, don't clash with me. We will be doing Saptaha Bhagavad 7 days, 3 times for the day from Guru Purnima onwards. Please join together, get involved. If you're a cook, if you're a flowers person, if you're a mala person, if you're a nawa, if you want to sit for prayers, the invitation is there. Please prepare yourself to do puja. Last year we had at every incident of puja at least 50 shrotas. In total, in the course of that year, we had over 200 plus shrotas getting an opportunity to worship God. Why are we doing these things? Because there are so many people with pitra dosh, people who offer blood in their family and they are dying, people with losing the younger heads, they cannot get children and they have to do something to shanti that dosh. People who have in historically generational curse, people who have done abortion, people who have done heinous crimes, but we do not live in a time where we have help to cook the food, to decorate, the cost of the chairs, the cost of everything. It's so outrageous. Hear what? Take the help. Here where your stupid pundit offering. If you have 10 pumps on your tree, if you want to help me with some water, if you want to help me with some whatever, if you want to come with some flowers from a tree, get involved today. The opportunity is yours. I could only make it happen, but I can't force you to take it. We all have testing moments. Sampati, Garud, everybody had a test. We hear about how Garud's mother was taken as a slave. We hear these things. You have your share of tests. Bills are going up. Children are going crazy. I was hearing how children slitting the wrists and all kind of thing, and they're now in 6th grade, 5th form, 5th standard, like babies. When these things come home to parents, tell me, parents, what are you doing to prevent or help yourself then? By that time, it's too late. When things are good, when things are merry, that is the time to get your head in gear. Dear God, keep it safe, keep it good. Don't wait until you're in the accident, then you want to do a jog. That time, it's too late. Join with us. Join with us. We want to help. You just have to reach. You have to come. and take part. It's easy. So get involved in all the things that we are doing. I know at a later point we have, and you'll hear more of these events, we have another hamper drive coming up. Charity begins at home, and what you expose your children to. Daddy used to always give charity when, you see, we celebrated birthday. Birthday wasn't only cake and to get diabetes. Birthday was also, let us share some food. Let us share a little red bean. We can't afford the whole 100 pounds, but you know what? Daddy used to buy 5 pounds of red bean, and we used to contribute that. The temple where I attended, they preached that, and there's a need. There is a need. Many people are hungry. But if you only teach your children, go to school to, make money, hoard money, there's a day to come, as many people are experiencing. You didn't teach me to give charity. Why am I going to be charitable? Why am I making money to give people? Who doing that? I never see you do that. Use my mother and father. You never do it. I have to do it. In this way, we have to teach these things from now. So I hope you've enjoyed this time we spent together. I really enjoyed doing this Yagya with you. And I thank all the sponsors and all the team at Sankhya, the team here at the Ashram who did the recording with patience, because to get it on the record, because it takes time with me. I'm not a professional. But in this ad hoc way, my nephew sits, my niece sits, Navin is with us tonight with patience, guiding me how to do and what to do. And I bless them and pray that God continue to bless them in all that they have to do. Everybody, as we come to the end of our Yagya, put your hands together. Katha visarjana hotu hai, suno vida Hanuman. जो जन जासे आया हूँ टेटा करो पयान जय जय राजा राम की. This is the Vidai, this farewell song when the Ramayan is being read. जय जय राजा राम की, जय लक्ष्मण बलवान, जय कपीस सुग्रीव की, जय अंगर जय हनुमान, जय जय काकभुषुंड की, जय गिरि उमा महेश, जय ऋषि भरद्वाज की, जय तुलसी अवधेश. Katha visarjana hot hai. If you know it, sing it with me. Suno veera Hanuman, jo jan jase aya hu teta karo payan. Shrota sab ashram gaye, Shambhu gaye Kailash, Ramayan mama hriday maha sara karahu tumavas. Katha visarjan hota hai. सुनो वीर हनुमान जो जन जासे आया हूँ तेटा करो पयान. Om, dear Lord, by your grace, you have afforded us the opportunity to sit and listen to your discourse. Thank you for it. Tonight, in simple language, thank you for the opportunity to listen to the Katha. I've never heard some of these things. It has been some time since I've heard these things. Thank you, and allow me to hear it again. Next week, Pandit say we're doing Jag again, and the following week we're doing Jag again. God bless me that although I'm living at a distance, maybe I live in a different country, maybe I am unable to journey to the temple, maybe I am like Sampati, trapped in a bed, trapped in a hospital room, trapped with a cane or a walker. Dear God, you know where I am. God, thank you for coming to me. Thank you for reaching me tonight in the medium of my television or my device in my phone, my tablet. Thank you for the opportunity. By listening, dear God, I get the Shravanam. I'm practicing listening to prayer. Tomorrow I'll get up and I'll talk to somebody about what I learned. Thank you for this. Together, everybody. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. Tvameva bandhuscha saka tvameva. Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Together. Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोलो उमापति महादेव की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, श्री आदि शक्ति माता की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, श्री रामचंद्र की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय, जय जय सीताराम. सबको सीताराम, everybody. Sitaram, good night from us here in the ashram. Until next week when we get to do our yagya again, God bless you, and please look out for the replay. Please join, and as I said, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Send me your comments on Facebook, on YouTube. Join us on Sankhya and support, support, support. Just by simply viewing, send your likes and your comments, please, everybody. God bless you, and share the satsang to relatives who may not know these things. Share it for them so they could benefit too. Everybody, God bless you. Sitaram, until we see again. Bye-bye.